1.04 million people. That's the average audience that tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark and the Fever take on the Los Angeles Sparks on a Wednesday night on cable at 10 p.m. Eastern. That is not a normal number for the WNBA. That is a historic first. Think about everything that happened around Clark this season. Injuries, a suspension controversy, Congress getting involved, a nickname turned into a political headline. Through all of it, none of it scared fans away. If anything, it pulled more people in. This is the part that critics keep missing. Every controversy, every hit, every headline about Clark somehow turns into more eyeballs on the WNBA. Love her or hate her, people are watching. And in television, watching is the only number that actually matters. So here's the real story underneath all 5 of these headlines. A player gets hurt, a rival gets suspended, politicians get involved. The league doubles down by making her an all-star captain. And ratings hit numbers this league has never seen before. Caitlin Clark isn't just surviving one of the messiest stretches of her career. She's making the entire league more valuable because of it. And that leaves one question every fan should be asking right now. What happens to the WNBA the day Caitlin Clark isn't at the center of the storm anymore? Then came the update. Clark was cleared, available for Wednesday's game against the Golden State Valkyries. But here's the catch. She's limited to about 25 minutes. For a player who normally controls the entire game, that's a massive restriction. It means the Fever have to figure out how to win with a smaller version of their franchise player on the floor.
Looks like the Indiana Fever are up to their usual scammy, shady, shiesty tricks. Looks like Caitlin Clark gonna be playing today, but Aaliyah Boston won't be playing today. Aaliyah Boston will be playing tomorrow, but Caitlin Clark won't be playing tomorrow. Caitlin Clark minutes restriction. The girl says she's fine. The Indiana Fever up to their typical shady ways. Fans buying tickets with no idea what they are even walking into, who's playing, who's not playing. Is Caitlin free of minutes restriction? Is Caitlin only playing 15 minutes? Nobody knows.
And that's where the questions start piling up. Is this injury really as minor as the team is saying? Or are they managing something bigger, quietly, in public? Because this isn't the first physical incident Clark has dealt with this season. Not even close. In fact, just days before this injury update, something happened on the court that had nothing to do with basketball skill and everything to do with how hard some players are willing to hit her. It didn't just bruise Clark, it bruised the entire league's reputation. And that story is where things get a lot more serious.
The previous player guarding her, but not on the layup contact. I did not see that. Now, do I think she's officiated differently? Yes, I do. And that's unfortunate because that's what I want to know. Now, what are you doing, the WNBA? And Kathy Engelbert needs to talk to somebody. If she doesn't want to talk to me, talk to somebody so we can at least get a face attached to this that can give us what's the reasoning here? What's the logic here? Because something's there. I don't think anybody can sit here and go, that's nothing to see here. Why did the commissioner, according to Sports Business Journal, get involved?
Because while everyone was distracted by the back injury, the real story was what led up to it. Alyssa Thomas made contact with Caitlin Clark near her throat during a scramble for the ball. Video of the moment spread fast, and it didn't look like an accident to a lot of people watching. The league reviewed it, and this time, they didn't stay quiet. Thomas was hit with a suspension, not just a fine. An actual suspension, the kind that signals the league saw something they couldn't ignore anymore. But here's what made it bigger than one incident. This wasn't the first time Clark has taken a hard, unnecessary shot on the court this year. Fans have been counting, commentators have been counting, and every time it happens, the same question gets louder. Is the WNBA doing enough to protect its biggest star?
Logically, you would think, she plays the Sparks game, maybe misses the Mercury game, but no. How else is Stephanie White going to allow Caitlin Clark to get beat up if she misses the Mercury game? Caitlin Clark has to play the Mercury game because who on the Sparks is going to beat up Caitlin Clark? You know what I mean? Who on the Sparks is going to order the code red that Stephanie White has put in? Nobody. So she's gonna miss the Sparks. She's gonna play against the Mercury so she can get beat up and assaulted one more time by Alyssa Thomas, by DeWanna Bonner, by Natasha Mack. You guys get the point. By Kai Copper. You guys get the point.
Because Clark isn't just a player anymore. She's the reason cable numbers are breaking records. She's the reason casual fans are tuning in for the first time. And every hard foul that goes unpunished makes it look like the league is willing to risk its golden goose. This time, the punishment came, but the anger didn't stop there. It escalated into something nobody expected. Politicians got involved. And once Washington starts paying attention to your league, you know the story has stopped being just about basketball.
The criticism of WNBA officiating has now reached Capitol Hill. Think about that. Just days after Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark publicly called on the league to do a better job of protecting its players, a group of Republican lawmakers is demanding answers from WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. In a letter led by Representative August Pfluger, chairman of the Republican Study Committee and co-signed by a dozen members of Congress, including my guys here in Indiana, the group argued that the WNBA has failed to adequately protect its biggest stars' repeated unnecessary physical play.
A group of Republican lawmakers sent a direct warning to the WNBA commissioner. Their message was simple: clean up the physical treatment of Caitlin Clark or expect federal civil rights scrutiny. That is not a normal sentence to write about a basketball league. This wasn't some random post from a backbench politician either. This was an organized push, timed right after the Thomas suspension, aimed straight at league leadership, and it split the internet instantly. Supporters said it was about time someone held the league accountable. Critics said politicians were overstepping, turning a sports story into a political weapon. Then things got even messier. Clark started facing backlash of her own after public figures who support her, including Riley Gaines, waded into the conversation. Some critics went as far as calling her Confederate Clark.
The eye pokes, the throat jabs, the hip check, all of it to me looks like targeted violence.
Why would they be doing that? I mean, literally, she has brought the league from here to here.
You know, the WNBA hasn't really had to be concerned about marketing or ratings because they subsidize so much from the NBA. So I don't think it's much of a concern to the league itself, which I will say in regard to that. I don't think we have seen a league that is more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA, which doesn't make much sense.
Accusing her fan base of using her popularity to push an agenda that has nothing to do with basketball. Now Clark is stuck in the middle of something she never asked for. She just wants to play. But her name has become bigger than the sport itself, tangled up in politics, culture wars, and league accountability all at once. So with all this chaos swirling around her, you'd think the WNBA would want to bury her, keep her out of the spotlight. Instead, the league just did the exact opposite. The league picked Caitlin Clark as a starter for the 2026 WNBA All-Star Game, her third All-Star start, and she's not just playing in it, she's a team captain drafting her own squad for the game in Chicago on July 25th. Think about the timing here. In the middle of injury concerns, a suspension controversy, and a political firestorm, the WNBA put Clark front and center on one of its biggest stages of the year. Two of her own Fever teammates, Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, are starting right alongside her. Some fans saw this as the league trying to smooth things over, reminding everyone why Clark matters so much in the first place. Others saw it as simple and fair. She's averaging over 21 points and more than 8 assists a game this season. Star numbers, star treatment. But there's a deeper story hiding in this selection. All-Star games are usually about celebration. This one feels different. It feels like a spotlight at the league needed to shine, right when Clark's story could have gone in a much darker direction. And that spotlight is about to get even brighter, because while critics keep arguing about fouls and politics and fairness, the actual numbers tell a story that nobody in the WNBA can afford to ignore.
Seen Stewie make some plays today defensively, comes over, right hand.
Oh, that hand does hit the face on the follow-through, though.
Breanna Stewart goes to block Caitlin Clark's shot, and what does the referee do? Stands there, watches Caitlin Clark get whacked in the head.
Later in the same game, Breanna Stewart blocked a Clark layup, and on the way down, her hand caught Clark clean across the face. The referee was standing right there. He watched the whole thing happen. No whistle, no review, no flagrant, nothing.
Damn!
The Indiana Fever cruised to another victory against the New York Liberty. A few things that stood out to me, I just don't understand. How does everybody get calls? Breanna Stewart, Kelsey Mitchell, but Caitlin Clark, you could literally grab her face and they don't call a foul.
So let me ask you this right now. Do you believe Caitlin Clark is being officiated differently from everyone else? Comment Y for yes. Just type the letter Y below, because after you see everything the referees called against Indiana and what they somehow refused to call, it becomes very difficult to believe this was just one innocent mistake. The Fever still walked out of Gainbridge Fieldhouse with a 20-point win over one of the best teams in the league. But nobody's talking about the score today. They're talking about what the referees didn't call.
The WNBA officials, the referees last night, they were egregious. We have a dude, number 42, Rich Jelly Bean or String Bean or Lima Bean, watching Caitlin Clark go up for a layup and get slapped across the face by Breanna Stewart. Now, in fast motion, watching from my TV, I didn't see her get slapped in the face. But the only difference is I'm watching from my TV. Another difference is I don't get paid to watch for things like that. The referee's job is while players are going up to the rim, going up for layups, is to look at all forms of contact, all forms of possible contact.
And once you see how the entire night played out, you'll understand exactly why this is blowing up right now. Let's start from the top, because this game went sideways almost immediately. 90 seconds in, Clark ran into a screen set by Jonquel Jones. Clark thought it was illegal, a moving screen, and she said so, loudly, right to the referee. That earned her a technical foul.
You could push her in midair, which we saw in this game. They don't call a foul. And then we have Jonquel Jones. In Caitlin Clark's rookie year, she set a screen so hard on Caitlin Clark, it ruptured her eardrum. And then she sets one of those screens where Caitlin Clark was obviously blindsided. And you hear the announcer say that was a good screen. I don't care if she was still or not. She was bent over, leaning forward, where her shoulder blade went into Caitlin Clark's face. That's not a good screen. They need to protect Caitlin Clark.
Her 6th of the season. For most players, that's just an early flare-up. For Clark, it's become part of a pattern. But then things got worse. The Liberty went on a 5-0 run. And on back-to-back Fever possessions, Clark and Aaliyah Boston were both called for offensive fouls trying to create space. First Clark catching a handoff and trying to get to her spot. Then Boston, seconds later, on a steal, trying to shrug off a defender on the way up the floor. 2 Fever players, 2 whistles, back to back. The Gainbridge Fieldhouse crowd did not take it well. They booed, loudly. One reporter courtside described it as the crowd getting restless as the calls piled up against the home team. At that point, you could feel it. This wasn't just one bad whistle fans were going to forget by halftime. This was building into something, and the Fever hadn't even gotten to the worst part of their night yet. That's when things stopped being about 2 questionable whistles and turned into something much bigger. Later in the game, Clark drove into traffic and put up a layup. Breanna Stewart rose up to meet her at the rim and blocked the shot clean. That part isn't in question. Nobody's mad about the block. It's what happened next. As Stewart's hand came down, it swept across Clark's face. Not a shove, not an elbow, but contact to the face, on camera, in real time.
At this play, Caitlin Clark, how much longer are we going to have to deal with this? Caitlin Clark goes up for the layup, gets absolutely slapped in the face. Should have been a flagrant foul, but nope, not even a common foul. They're saying she was getting abused last night. Take a look at this. Caitlin Clark goes up for it. There's no body contact. So there's no body contact at all. So at this point, what should the official be looking at? The follow-through, right? What should the official be looking at? There's no possible body contact at this. So the official should be looking at the upper part of her body. Is there a contact on the hand? Is there contact on the head? Is there contact on the shoulder? Where are there possible points of contact? And unfortunately for Caitlin Clark, the possible point in contact happens to be on her face, right on her head. Caitlin Clark grabs her nose, goes down, play on. Again, it's not my job. It's this dude's job to look for that. I'm watching from a TV screen. I'm watching from an itty bitty TV screen. This guy is literally 6.5 feet away from the play taking place. And I'm supposed to believe he doesn't see Caitlin Clark get whacked in the head?
And directly behind the play was referee Roy Gulbayan with a clear look at exactly what happened. He didn't call it. No foul, no review sent up, no flagrant. The game just kept moving like nothing happened. But social media didn't let it go that easily. One widely shared reaction summed up what a lot of fans were thinking in real time. Stewie follows through on a clean block and claws Caitlin in the eye. No review.
It's like the whole system is just beefing with her. Olivia Miles has a police escort through the lane to the basket. Caitlin is challenged even if she has her defender beat. Here's the thing. She literally watched her hand hit her face. She knew what she... Yeah, not saying it's intentional, but the gap between what gets reviewed and what doesn't when it involves Clark is wide enough now that it's a legitimate pattern, not a one-off. Yeah, it's a legitimate pattern. It's not a one-off at all. Yeah, if I'm Caitlin Clark and I'm getting whacked like this and fouls aren't getting called in my favor, yeah, I would probably be pissed at the referees too.
And here's the part that makes this bigger than one missed call. This isn't the first time this season fans have questioned whether Clark gets the same whistle everyone else does. It's been a storyline all year, how much contact she absorbs and how often officials let it slide. This one just happened to get caught on an angle where there was zero doubt about what viewers were seeing. A block, then a hand across the face, then silence. Meanwhile, on the other end of the floor, Aaliyah Boston was fighting foul trouble of her own, picking up her fourth personal early in the fourth quarter. 2 Fever starters, 2 different foul situations in the same game, same referee crew under the microscope, and it kept happening in front of a home crowd that was already primed to boo the second another whistle went against Indiana. By the fourth quarter, this game wasn't about the Liberty anymore. It was about every single call the officials were making or refusing to make every time a Fever player touched the ball. Here's the thing that makes this whole night so hard to wrap your head around. Despite every one of these moments, the early technical, the back-to-back offensive fouls, the no call to the face, the Fever still crushed the Liberty, 108-88, 20 points, against a genuinely good New York team. So why is everyone still talking about the officiating instead of the win? Because the pattern matters more than any single game. When a referee is standing right in front of a play, watching a hand connect with a star player's face and chooses not to blow the whistle, fans notice. And when it happens in the same game as a questionable technical and a pair of borderline offensive fouls against the same team, it stops looking like bad luck. It starts looking like a trend. That's exactly why a fresh breakdown video picking apart the replay and the officiating crew is climbing right now. People aren't just annoyed, they want answers. They want to know if this gets looked at, if anything changes, or if it's business as usual next time Clark drives into contact. And that's really the tension here. On paper, this was a great night for the Fever. A blowout win over a top team, on the road to nowhere, but up in the standings. But you can win by 20 and still walk away with fans more focused on the referees than the box score. That's exactly what happened Saturday night. The final score said one thing. The replay said something else entirely. The Fever won big. Clark kept playing through all of it. But the story coming out of Gainbridge Fieldhouse isn't the final score. It's a referee who watched a hand hit Caitlin Clark in the face and decided there was nothing to see. What do you think?
I've got to be honest, the officials allowed her the moment to get the emotions out of her, and some officials wouldn't do that, especially with...
God, like that hurts. Like the ref can't miss that, and then I have to play with a contusion in my leg the rest of the game. Like it's ridiculous. Can't miss calls like that.
She marched at the referee, screaming, dropping F-bombs, and somehow walked away with 0 technical fouls. Caitlin Clark just had the worst night of her season, and she is not hiding how angry she is about it.
Valkyries demolishing the Fever tonight. By the way, very early on in the offseason, when free agency started and it became clear the Indiana Fever wasn't really going to do much. And then we had the draft. You had all of us in the creator community screaming, this is not a championship squad. They don't have the appropriate size. They don't have the appropriate length. They haven't addressed a lot of issues. Guys, this team is officially 14-10.
Wednesday night, in her first game back from a back injury, Clark shot 4 for 14 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, a season low, and when the whistle didn't blow on a hard foul that left her limping, she completely lost it. But the stat line wasn't even the real story. What Caitlin Clark did after the final buzzer is what has the entire WNBA world talking right now.
The fallout last night, the knee to the quad heard around the world, the crash out experienced around the world. We got video of the other part of a situation where Caitlin Clark came off the court and she was pissed off that she was being pulled out of the game. And very interesting.
Let's set the scene. Clark had been out over a week with a re-aggravated back injury. Coach Stephanie White confirmed it herself. So when Clark got upgraded to available on Wednesday, everyone knew she wasn't at full strength. Reports had her on a minutes restriction somewhere around 25, and the opponent waiting for her was brutal timing. The Golden State Valkyries, a second-year franchise, walked in having won 7 straight games. This was a statement game for both sides. The first quarter, Clark looked rusty. Nobody panics over one rusty quarter, not for her, but then the second quarter happened, and that's when the whole night flipped. Clark drove hard to the rim for a layup. Kaya Stokes met her at the basket. Contact. Clark hit the floor. The basket counted, but there was no foul call. And Clark did not take it well. The ref can't miss that, Clark said afterward. She hit me right in the quad. It hurts. And then I have to play with a contusion on my leg the rest of the game.
With Stokes that made you upset and then you hopped into the back.
That hurts. Like the ref can't miss that, and then I have to play with a contusion in my leg the rest of the game. Like, it's ridiculous. Can't miss calls like that.
That's when things stopped being about basketball. Clark went straight at the official, not a quiet word. A full sprint toward her, yelling from point-blank range. Multiple reports say she dropped F-bombs, arguing that the Fever weren't getting the same whistle Golden State was getting all night.
It was on and popping in this game.
Even make a move to try to keep Burton off.
Caitlin crashed out on the refs. Right here. Right here. She lost it. And you could tell at one point in the game, later after this, she got pulled out of the game, and I think she slammed the table on the way out of the game. But this is another look at this, real close.
I've got to be honest, the officials allowed.
She said, F, I've been fouled 5 effing times. Give me a effing call.
Somehow, no technical foul. The ref let it go. But everyone in that arena saw exactly how heated it got. And here's the part that makes this worse. When the referee reportedly told Clark she initiated the contact, Clark shot back immediately. Which is fine, she said, but you can't knee me in the leg. Knock me over.
Did they give you an explanation right after when you...
She said I initiated the contact. Which is fine. You can't knee me in the leg. Knock me over.
You'd think that would be the emotional peak of the night. It wasn't. Because after that blow-up, Clark's shooting night completely fell apart. She finished 4 for 14 from the field, 1 for 8 from deep. A season worst. 5 turnovers, a team high. And for the first time all year, Clark posted a negative plus-minus. Not once all season had that happen until Wednesday night in the same game she was screaming at officials.
Caitlin Clark is not happy. Caitlin Clark absolutely slammed Stephanie White for continuing to sub her out. She's sick and tired of Stephanie White's sabotage. She's sick and tired of this BS minutes restriction, which I believe is a stats limit. They are trying to limit what she can do in the statistical category. Caitlin Clark absolutely let Stephanie White have it. along with the referees, man. She is sick and tired of this nonsense. And it's just starting to blow over, man. It's too much now.
Probably the best defensive team in the league. They're really good at that. They do what they do. And I had some good looks that didn't go down, and then, you know, I shot some tougher looks too. But, you know, I thought I finally kind of played with a little bit more pace and a little bit more burst, especially down the stretch in the fourth. But hopefully I don't have to keep playing 25 minutes.
Hopefully I don't have to keep playing 25 minutes. I played 10 minutes in the first half. I can't get no damn rhythm. Stephanie White, can you stop playing games now?
The Fever lost 88-75, Golden State's 8th straight win, with Gabby Williams dropping 16 and Caitlin Chen adding 14 off the bench. A promising young franchise looking more and more like a real threat. But that still wasn't the moment that had people talking the most. After the game, Caitlin Clark did something she almost never does. She declined to speak to the media completely. No podium, no quotes, nothing. Think about that for a second. This is a player who talks after wins, after losses, after controversy, after everything. She's been one of the most available superstars in the league. And on the one night where she was hurt, frustrated, and clearly furious at the officiating, she said nothing at all. That silence tells you more than any quote could. This wasn't just a bad shooting night. It was a body that isn't fully healed, colliding with a coaching staff trying to manage her minutes, colliding with officiating that fans have questioned for her all season long, colliding with a superstar whose patience looks like it's finally running thin. This isn't the first time this year people have argued the referees are missing calls on Clark, but Wednesday was the loudest, most visible explosion of that frustration yet. And walking away from the media afterward makes it feel like more than just one bad night. So here's where it stands. Caitlin Clark is banged up. She's furious at the officiating, and she just had the worst shooting performance of her season. And for the first time all year, she didn't want to talk about it. With the Fever chasing a playoff push, that combination is worth watching closely. What do you think?